Thank you for joining us today, for
Yeah.
willing to chat with our team and share more about your experience, your brand, and your experience with Accounting Suite. We'll start off here if you want to just share your name, your company name, and your role.
Yeah. So my name is Matthew Treece. I'm the owner of Outdoor Beards and the founder. I started this in 2016. I actually started it because my my wife told me she was pregnant with our first kid. His name is Liam. He's 7 now. And previously, I was in the vaping industry with the whole FDA stuff and the difficulty in that industry. I thought, it would be good to have a backup because I was so high up in that company and I was a part owner in that company. I was like, I can never go and work for somebody else again if this industry fails. And so Outdoor Beards was kind of it was my backup. It was kind of a pet project. I had 16 partners in the other industry and a lot of chiefs, and I was like, I want something that's just mine. And so this industry, the beard care industry, made a lot of sense to me because I came from a logistics and production background. I was involved in making new product and actually getting production going, and like I designed a machine in that industry that does filling and whatnot. So I understood how to make product. I was very good at that side of things, and I knew, stickers, products, supply chain management, like I understood all that side of stuff. One of the things we were just talking about is I had launched NetSuite at the other company, and so I migrated from QuickBooks Online to NetSuite, which, for those of you who don't know, that's a humongous ERP program. It's massive, crazy expensive. And so I've got a lot of experience in accounting and everything. So I kind of had all the tools that I needed to start something on my own. And so, yeah, I started this in 2016. And then in January of 23, I quit my job and I went full time into Outdoor Beards. And one of the reasons I'm doing this with you is because Accounting Suite has been with me since the beginning.
Yeah.
I started the company with Accounting Suite because I needed bill of materials, and you guys have just been awesome. And I've got like Jay Larson he was my rep for a long time, and he and I actually talked a few weeks ago, and like he's talked to me for 8 years, and so he's watched the company grow, and like me being able to tell him, hey, guess what, I quit my job. Like that was a really exciting conversation.
It sounds like so you started kind of doing your own thing, like I was kind of getting at. It's really nice to have that freedom, owning your own business. That's a big part of our mission and our goals is supporting small business owners, supporting business owners, just allowing you to feel empowered and like you can kind of do it on your own and answer to yourself, which is great. I guess it sounds like you have a lot of experience leading up to that 2016 launch date.
Yeah.
How long would you say you've been in this industry, or just collectively? You've mentioned accounting and different things and manufacturing and such. So how long have you been in those industries combined, do you think?
I started in like I said, I was in the vaping industry. I started in there in 2012. 2012 is when I started there, and it was one of those things. I knew a guy, and he was like, hey, I got this thing, you want to come work for me? You can run my warehouse. And I had never shipped anything before, and I was like, what are you talking about? I've never shipped anything. He's like, you're fine, you're OCD, you'll figure it out. And it started with just me in a warehouse, and then that grew into, all the companies combined last year I think did like 50 million. So yeah, it was crazy. It was an insane industry to be in, the growth that happened there. And so I never had any like formal education. I didn't go to college. I have a high school diploma. Yeah, so a lot of it was just figure it out, right? So like when I walked into that warehouse, getting hired there, it was empty, the whole place. It was an empty warehouse. He's like, hey, we gotta do stuff, figure it out. Here's a desk in an empty warehouse. Like it's really interesting to look back and think about all that. But so then like figuring out production. So a couple years into it, we got into the production side of things, and it was startup. And so it was like, hey, who wants to deal with production? So, well, hey, I'll take it. Why not? It's going to be in the warehouse anyway. And so that got me into the production side of things, logistics and doing trade shows. And with production came machinery. And so we went through a handful of machines, and I ended up actually designing the machine that's still used there now. I worked with a company in China to produce that machine, and it was like a 9-month project. Accounting was something I got into, I think partially because, like I said, I had to set up NetSuite. And when you're setting up a new ERP program, you have to understand things like chart of accounts and T tables and all that. Between me and my accountant and doing research and stuff, I learned how accounting works. And so that kind of set me on that path. And it got to the point, like the accountants over there, like they'd run into a problem and they'd be like, well, let's call Matt. And they have degrees in accounting and I don't, and I'm the one solving problems. And it was just kind of getting that fundamental understanding, because when you build one of these programs like NetSuite or Accounting Suite, when you build it from the ground up and you're getting it all customized for your business, you get such an in-depth understanding of how everything works. So that was super handy, especially coming over into Outdoor Beards, because I didn't have an accountant. I didn't have any employees. It was just me. And my wife was like, well, I'll take pictures and post them on Instagram. And so like she's done like most of the stuff on Instagram you see for Outdoor Beards was done by her. So I went to set up, the accounting software for Outdoor Beards, and that's when I found Accounting Suite, because I needed something with bill of materials. And I didn't want it to be crazy expensive, because programs like NetSuite are just, I think for 90% of companies out there, a program like NetSuite is too much. It's too big, it's too complicated, it's too expensive.
Absolutely.
And you guys, it's not, like, even with the pricing now, because like I said, I'm grandfathered into really old pricing. But even now, like a basic startup would be able to afford your software just fine. My favorite thing though about you guys is the availability of your people, because NetSuite, it's impossible to talk to a human. It's so frustrating. You pay $24,000 a year and you couldn't, like, we needed to add, this was right before I left, they needed to add some module to be able to do something. I don't remember what it was. And we couldn't find a rep. We didn't know who to talk to pay them more money. We couldn't get a hold of them. Whereas you guys, like, I have Jay Larson and BG, I have their calendars.
Yeah.
I want to talk to them. I pull up their calendars and I insert my name. I can say, hey, at 1 p.m. tomorrow, you and I are going to talk for an hour. And they're there. I talk to Elle a lot.
Yes. Everybody
customer
loves
support.
Yep.
Yep.
Awesome.
Talk to Elle a bunch when I run into small things. And then we launched Outdoor Beards recently. We just launched into Amazon. Yeah, I got into Amazon Prime, so fulfillment by Amazon. Here's a perfect example of why it's awesome to be able to talk to you guys so easily is I needed to figure out how to do the accounting for Amazon, because it's totally different. It's location based, and it's almost like a it acts as like a consignment thing, and I didn't know how to do that in Accounting Suite. And so I emailed Jay and I got on his calendar and I was like, hey, I need to know how to do this. So we got on a meeting for an hour, we got off the call, and everything's set up and it's flowing, and I'm making sales on Amazon now. Would not have been able to do that with a company like NetSuite, because you can't get a hold of a human. You guys are also really good at if there's something in your program that's missing. I've had you guys do multiple custom builds. So I've been through your custom build process, and actually, so this is a cool thing. Jay was super excited about this one. Like I said, my previous job, I was part owner there and was really high up in the company. The only guy above me was the CEO, who I voted to be the CEO. And so it was one of those things where me leaving was not an easy transition, right? One of the things was how we ran our production and decided what to produce. It was a process that I had created in Microsoft Excel. So I ran like half this business in Microsoft Excel. And teaching someone how to understand Excel is really difficult. And so I wanted it to go through a program. And so we had set up, I don't want to say the name of the company, but the production company we had set that up in Accounting Suite, because it was separate from the company that used NetSuite. And in order for me to leave, I had to be able to get rid of the Excel program. So we did a custom build in Accounting Suite that could tell my production team how much needed to be made of what, and the ordering process for getting in the raw materials and then turning the raw materials into finished goods. Wow. And that custom program is the reason I was able to leave that job and do Outdoor Beards full time. Yeah, like without you guys, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now.
You mentioned working with NetSuite and having frustration not being able to access a real human, especially when you're trying to give them more money. So kind of tying into pain points? Do you have any other pain points you've experienced with other softwares?
Oh yeah, yeah. QuickBooks Online was the worst. QuickBooks Online was horrible. They didn't do bill of materials, and when you're in a production type environment, you have to have that in order for accounting to be accurate. So we had a lot of issues with that before we switched over to NetSuite. But then even after switching over to NetSuite, there's like the little things that you don't realize are a problem until it's like 8 months down the road, and then you have to go back and like you have to fix it 8 months in the past and then work your way back forward. And
Right.
so that happens. There's some things too, like NetSuite was so big and so robust that it was really easy to get lost. Like you could do HTML type customizations and scripts and stuff, and it was like it's almost like it's too much. And especially for and I don't want to say smaller companies, like I'm a very small company, right? And
Yeah.
Outdoor Beards is tiny. It's just me, and then I've got like a graphic design guy, and then now I've got an Amazon guy now, and so it's a very small business. But you don't have to have a massive program. Like I said, we use Accounting Suite in the production company of my previous company, and that was big. Like they went through massive amounts of raw materials. They're making 15,000 bottles a day of
Yeah.
product. That's a big company in
Yeah.
terms of money.
Definitely.
That's using Accounting Suite to handle
Yeah.
all that. So you don't have to have an expensive program in order to be successful. You need to have a program that fits your needs. And I feel like Accounting Suite for any sort of company that handles any kind of production is just perfect. And even with Accounting Suite not being a quote unquote ERP program, it has so much of the functionality. Now, I can understand some people want more of the CRM side of things, which I don't really do any of that inside of Accounting Suite, aside from building a new customer, and
Yeah.
there's a notes field to take notes about that person. So I don't think that's as robust, but all of the logistical side of Accounting Suite it's not really missing anything. When I compare Accounting Suite to NetSuite, it's different, but it's
Yeah.
not missing anything.
How does Accounting Suite help you maintain and grow your business?
Well, so one of my favorite things to do is actually accounting. Now that I understand all that stuff, but I'll sit down like twice a month and I'll just catch up on all my accounting. I like to pour a glass of scotch and I just sit there and do my accounting. So you guys have your the cloud commerce. It's how I link. So I have website sales, and then I had an Etsy. I don't anymore, but I'm on Walmart.com as well.
Awesome.
And that's all linked with the cloud commerce side of stuff. And so I can just go in and import my orders. So all like my website, Walmart.com, they link to ShipStation, and then ShipStation links to Accounting Suite. And so all my orders come into ShipStation, I ship everything out, and then once every couple of weeks I go into Accounting Suite and I import everything, and I do all my books. The simplicity of how that process works allows me to do accounting once every 2 weeks and not fall behind. I don't have to be in my books every single day, and that frees me up to do other things.
Yeah.
And so it's, especially being such a small business and me wearing so many hats, I can't spend all my time doing accounting. And so that's one way that the software is super helpful. And then the cloud banking is super useful. Links up, I say, hey, refresh all the transactions. Here they all are. And then I process all my accounting. Bill of materials is another one. That one's, it takes a while to set up, but it's like that with any program just because bill of materials are complex. And I have multi-stage bill of materials. And so I'll give you an example. If I'm making a beard balm, the beard balm itself is one bill of materials, but then there's a scent that goes in there. And that scent is a second bill of materials. And so I have to make the scent as balm 1, and then the base is balm 2, and then the third bill of materials is me putting these together to create the finished product. And so I've got multi-level bill of materials set up through your software, and everything just works. Just it working the way that it works allows me to spend time doing other things, because I'm supposed to be the creative, right? I'm supposed to be the one figuring out new recipes and creating new product, or getting the Amazon side of stuff set up, I needed time to be able to work with him. And if I'm stuck in my software all day, then I'm not able to spend time doing other things. So the simplicity of how Accounting Suite works frees me up to be able to put on a different hat for the rest of the day or the rest of the week.
The last question is, what does using Accounting Suite look like in the day-to-day?
I'm not in there day to day, which is nice.
I love that answer. That's
Yeah,
great.
like I was saying, it's really every couple of weeks. Sometimes I'll have a really big week of sales or something, and so I don't want to get too far behind. But yeah, it's I spend a lot of time in there when I'm doing something new. So like when I was launching Amazon, and I had to figure out, okay, I have to create a new location, I have to create consignment sales, I need to set this customer up correctly. And then after doing that, I realized I have another consignment customer, and I was like, this customer is set up wrong. Like I could now that I have this new tool in my bag, right? I've got the new tool, and I was able to take this customer who was doing consignment, but I wasn't doing the accounting the same way, and I actually got them fully switched over. So now they're a consignment customer and set up that way. But yeah, I actually don't spend a lot of time in there unless I'm launching a new product or a new process. The rest of the time, it's just, I don't know, I'd say I probably average 4 to 6 hours every 2 weeks. So it's like 12 hours a month, maybe, that I'm spending in the software. And the reason for that is because everything's so automatic. Like even my banking, I can create rules. I pay for outbound shipping through USPS. And so when one of those charges hits, I have a rule in there that says, hey, if it comes from USPS, I want you to categorize it as outbound shipping expense.
That's awesome.
And now that's one less thing that I have to do. It's 2 less clicks or whatever. But when you can do that with enough things, when you can save a click here and save a click there, and I don't have to type this, everything just happens automatically. When you do that to 100 different things, you're saving so much time. And time is money when you're an entrepreneur. So it's great. You guys are great. I love you guys. Like I'm not gonna go anywhere. I like, my favorite thing is being able to talk to a person when I need to talk to a person, and also having it's not just phone calls too. Like I've had chats with Elle. I just pull up a chat window. Hey, having a problem with this, and it's handled. So yeah, it's easy, it's simple, it's customizable. So I love that side of things. And plus, one thing too is you guys really, you do a good job of listening to feedback. Actually, shortly after I started with you guys, Jay used to call me like once every 6 months, and he'll just be like, hey, tell me what you think. What are your thoughts? What do we need? And it kind of came from, because I had the experience that I have with something like NetSuite. We've done calls where I've pulled up both, and I've been like, here, this is what NetSuite looks like when I'm doing this process, and this is where your side of things is not quite working. And then I've seen changes happen. Where it's like, hey, we talked about that, and now that's there.
That's amazing.
And so it's just cool that you guys actually like take that feedback and do something with it. So it's good. You guys have grown quite a bit. There's a lot of new like extensions and stuff that have come in over the last 7 or 8 years. Some are useful for me, some aren't, but my business is specific, so some of them just aren't going to be something that I need. But it's fun to watch you guys grow and kind of having you guys grow right along with me, and it's fun. I love you guys. You're great.
Really unique. Wow, well, it's an honor as well. We're definitely glad to be partnered with you and have that experience growing together. We definitely appreciate your time today. Thank you, Matt, again from Outdoor Beards. We're excited to share your story.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other videos. Make sure to like and subscribe to keep up on all the latest news on Custom Books.